Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield to Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. The very subject of this hearing is an outrage. Abortion care, the stated topic today, is of course an oxymoron. But the timing and the obvious purpose of this hearing today are unconscionable, and they are profoundly damaging to our institutions. Democrats are engaging in a brazen attempt here to intimidate and bully the justices of the Supreme Court as they consider a challenge to Mississippi's pro-life law. As soon as the draft opinion was leaked, their activists on the left began to picket and harass the justices and their families in their homes. Democrats have threatened the justices by name in the press, on the steps of the Supreme Court, and in recent briefs to the court. And now, in this and previous Judiciary Committee hearings, we have jurisdiction over the American system of justice, and the fact that we would be here trying to influence a pending opinion is unprecedented and dangerous to our institutions. So much for the Constitution, our system of justice, and our critical foundations in the principle of judicial independence. There is no right to abortion in the Constitution, period. Never was. It's not in its text, it's not in its structure, not in its meaning. Roe invented the right out of thin air, and it was highly criticized from the moment that it was published. And this has imposed a tragically consequential and a court-created social policy on the people of our country. And as a result, as was said a moment ago, almost 65 million of America's unborn children have perished because of it. Because there is no right to an abortion in the Constitution, that question is left to the states, for the people to decide. This is long overdue, and after nearly a half century, we are very hopeful and grateful that that might finally happen. Ms. Goodwin reminded us just a moment ago that facts matter. So let's talk about the underlying facts, because the facts and the law and the logic and the advancements in medical technology are clearly on the side of life. As the Susan B. Anthony list summarizes it well, quote, "The humanity of the unborn child is undeniable now, thanks to advances in modern medicine and science. At 6 weeks, an unborn child has a beating heart, and by 15 weeks, unborn children can suck their thumbs, they have fully formed noses and lips, eyes and eyebrows, and they can feel excruciating pain. These children deserve a voice in the American democratic process." In the recent Dobbs argument before the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts pointed to the fact that the U.S. is an outlier to the vast majority of other countries' viability standards. He said, quote, "When you get to the viability standard, we share that standard with the People's Republic of China and North Korea. It is unconscionable to think that the United States is one of only 7 countries that allows for abortions for any reason after 20 weeks. In our nation's birth certificate, we boldly declare that it is a self-evident truth that human beings are made by their Creator and they are endowed by Him with certain inalienable rights. The first listed is the right to life for obvious reasons." All 3 of the Democrat witnesses here today support and advocate for what they say is unrestricted abortion on demand. Let me ask Dr. Robinson, I could go to any of them, but you're the medical doctor. Based on your website and your testimony today, you clearly support the right to abort a 20-week-old unborn child. So I would love for you to explain to us, in your medical opinion, at what point in pregnancy should having an abortion no longer be an option?
Thank you for the question. As a medical doctor, I understand that every pregnancy is unique and different. I also understand that patients need to have access to care, pregnant people, as the pregnancy progresses, and that may be for various reasons.
Okay, let me ask you,
So
do you support the right of a woman who is just seconds away from birthing a healthy child to have an abortion?
I think that the question that you're asking does not realistically reflect abortion care.
In that scenario,
would
you support her right to abort that child?
I won't entertain theoreticals.
It's not a theoretical, ma'am.
reality.
You're a medical doctor.
I am a medical doctor, and that has never happened.
Never happened in your
healthcare
practice, ma'am, but it happens. How about if a child is halfway out of the birth canal? Is an abortion permissible then?
Can you repeat your question?
If a child is halfway delivered out of the birth canal, is it permissible to have an abortion? Would you support the right for an abortion then?
I can't even fathom that ever.
And I'm not asking you if you can fathom it. If it occurred, would you support that abortion or not? That's unrestricted abortion,
I can't
right?
answer a question that I can't imagine. Just like you probably can't imagine what you would do if your daughter was raped. If it hasn't happened, it may be difficult for you.
You're not going to answer this question, but how about this one? How does one qualify as fully human? What makes a human being?
What makes a person a human being is
right.
them being born, number one. That's why we have birthdays. And then also their individual DNA, them having autonomy, being able to act and think.
Okay, but wait a minute. A newborn child lacks the immediate capacity. A newborn child lacks the immediate capacity to make conscious, deliberate choices. So is infanticide okay?
I think what we're here to talk about is abortion care. What you're describing is something that is already illegal, and there are laws on the books for that. So I'm not a proponent of
But see,
any
you understand
restrictions.
if Dobbs is handed down, the states will be able to make that decision, and there are some that will go that far. You need to be aware of what we're talking about today. I'm out of time. I yield back.
There are laws on the books for
Gentleman's time
that.
has expired. The witness may answer the question.
I'm sorry?
I said the gentleman's time has expired. The witness may answer the question.
Okay. In the instance that he's describing, there are already laws on the books for that. Those are criminal acts, and so I'm not a proponent of any additional restrictions on people being able to access abortion care. I'm a proponent of us just enforcing the laws that are already on the books.
But what if the law is